What's up, Fit Fam? My name is Colleen Conlon, and today we're going to talk all about the kettlebell swing. You're going to roll your shoulders down your back and then try to rip the towel apart as hard as you can. Now just notice what muscles in your body are actually firing as you're ripping this towel apart. I'll give you a second to think. Let's just try it again, okay? And I want you to see from the side on me. We roll and then we rip. What do you feel? I want you to look one more time at me specifically. Right here, I'm not ripping, but in 3 seconds, I will be. Right behind your armpit, it's this meaty muscle known as your lat, okay? And when we're ripping the towel apart, we're activating the lat. A lot of the times, kettlebell swings, they get a bad rep for being bad for your low back. Kettlebell swings are not bad for anything. However, if you do not know how to do a kettlebell swing correctly, you're gonna get hurt. Bells aren't bad. People's poor technique, that's bad. So it's important you're ripping the bell in half or the towel and engaging your lat, okay? The next thing we need to talk about are your legs. So take your feet a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. You're gonna stomp the ground. You're gonna try to spread your feet apart from each other, locking out your quads, locking out your glutes. Your hips, they're in full extension. Your knees, they're also in extension, okay? Relax. Try that again and just notice what muscles you're feeling. Stomp the ground, spread the ground, lock the glutes, lock the quads. Your glutes, they should be burning. And there should even be tension through your outer thighs and your quads. If you were to bang on your legs right now, you should actually feel them really tight and solid. So let's just put those two things together. I stomp the ground, I roll my shoulders, I stand, I rip the towel. Before we dive any further into anything related to the swing, you have to understand how to create tension in your body to keep yourself safe when you start to think about swinging the kettlebell. Okay, so step number 1 is done. Next step, we have to look at your hip hinge. So when we swing, I want you to see this from the side. We always want to hinge at our hips. So from here, I drive my hips backwards. I'm always gonna keep my shoulders higher than my hips and my hips higher than my knees. Now, as I'm here, I am shifting back into my heels so that I'm loading up into my hamstrings. From here, just take your hands right in between your legs and then stand up. Again, glutes go back, shoulders higher than hips, hips higher than your knees, shifting back into the heels, feeling the hammies, and then stand right back up, okay? Try that a couple of times. If you have any questions on that, stop where you are, send me a video via Instagram as soon as you can, and then we can move on. But if you're ready to move on, let's add some load. Next up, the deadlift. I'm gonna stomp the ground, I'm gonna spread my legs and already create that tension through my quads, my hamstrings, and my glutes. From here, I hinge back at my hips, shoulders above hips, hips above knees. I reach down for the horns of the kettlebell, and I'm gonna try to rip it in half as if it's the towel. I stand up, and then I lower right back down to the ground. Try it with me for 2 reps. Exhale up, inhale down. Again, exhale up, inhale down. Now, just notice what you're feeling. Yeah, try it. I'm gonna wait for you. Relax. You should be feeling the hamstrings, glutes, and lats predominantly. If you're feeling anything else, pause it, shoot me a message, and then let's continue. But if you're ready, next up, the hike back. You know football. I think we all know football. You know, I'm not even super familiar, but I know what a hike back is. So from here, we take a step away from the bell, about elbow to middle finger distance away from the bell. We hinge back at the hips, shoulders higher than hips, hips higher than knees. Say it, do it, live by it. We tip the bell on its side, we rip it in half. You're gonna try to hike the bell back towards your bum and then sit it right back down in front. Watch me first. Again. Now, when you do this, it's a big pull. You want everything other than your arms to stay relatively still. I'll let you watch it a couple more times, and then when you're ready, jump in with me and I'll give you some more feedback. If you can see yourself from the side, are your shoulders still above your hips? Are your hips still above your knees? They should be. Lats, glutes, hamstrings, that's what should be predominantly starting to sizzle. Relax. Okay, so how did that go? If you feel good, you feel ready to move on, let's take that next step together. We have something called a pendulum swing. Now, this one, I think it's kind of funky. It's a little bit like this once you get it going, so I just want to show it to you before I tell you anything else. My setup is the same way as my hike back. Middle finger to elbow between knee and the bell. I hinge, I tip, I rip. I'm gonna hike it back in between my legs and then allow it to go forwards. So as my body goes back, the bell goes forwards. As the bell comes towards me, I go towards the bell. So as you do this, make sure your whole body is staying relatively still, except for the arms and the sagittal plane in which your body is traveling in. But you know what? Just give it a go, and then let's talk about it in a second. I want you to actually feel it. Ready, set, and begin. So as you're here, just notice your feet. You're shifting forwards and backwards. You gotta still spread your feet apart like we talked about in step 1, so you don't fall over. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, rest. How are we doing so far? If you're ready to move on, I'm gonna move on with you, but if you need to stay here, take a step back, send me a video, be my guest. But up next, we talk about the dead stop. My setup remains the same at this point until we actually get into the swing. Arm distance, stomp the ground, spread it apart. Hinge at my hips, tip, rip. I'm gonna do one swing, hitting my high plank position like you saw in the beginning of the video, and then set it right back down in front of me. So the whole idea here is we're gonna pull the bell and then stand up as quickly as possible using our glutes and our hamstrings to drive the weight up. Once you hit that high plank position, you wanna pause for a very split second. You're not actually gonna see that unless you turn this video into a slow-mo video. You're gonna pause for a split second, the bell's gonna drop, and then your hips will reach backwards and you set the bell back down in front of you. I want you to watch it a couple more times, and then when you're ready, give it a try. Your turn. Now, as you do this, loose grip on the bell. Imagine you're a Lego figurine, and you want your grip to be sturdy, but you want the bell to be able to rotate through your hand. At the top, make sure you're squeezing your glutes, you're locking out your hips, you're locking out your knees, and relax. Okay, so if you have any questions, reach out. If not, let's talk about the full on swing. Ready? Setup is the same. At this point, you should know it. Say it with me. Stomp the ground. Spread my feet. Hinge at my hips. Shoulder higher than hip, hip higher than my knee. I tip the bell. I rip it in half. I'm gonna hike it in between my legs and just continue that hike pattern and then set the bell finally down in front. Just watch it first, okay? So that hike back that we did a couple steps ago, that's what you're doing. You're continuously trying to throw the belt back up behind you. So your hand should stay really close up towards your crotch. Yeah, I said that. Your hand should stay really high up towards your crotch. When you stand up, you gotta stand up quickly. Again, all of the power to get this weight up is coming from your hamstrings and your glutes. Your arms, they're literally just going along for the ride. If you are muscling up the weight with your arms, it's either way too light or something is off. So watch me again and then give it a go, okay? Okay, your turn. Now, as you're going into this swing, let me give you a couple of tips. Remember, as you stand up, you're squeezing your glutes and you're standing up quickly. Your hands, they're loose, but you have control over the bell, okay? Your grip, it's loose, but it's taut. Inhale back, exhale up. Inhale back, exhale up. Remember, every single time you finish at the top of your swing, you're hitting your plank. Ball does not go any higher than your chin for hardstyle. Fantastic. Okay, so if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. I would love to see your video, and you know what, if you feel so inclined, show the world what you got on social media and tag me, Colleen Conlon Fit.